Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, probably for you in French Polynesia. My name is Melanie. Some of you might know me already, and I'm the market manager for French Polynesia and New Caledonia at Expedia Group. I'm based in Auckland, New Zealand. It's very bad weather today outside, so I'm glad that I'm like snuggled in the office. And on behalf of the Expedia Group and especially the Pacific Island team, I would like to thank you all for joining us today. And of course, thank you for SPTO to give us the opportunity of running this webinar. So with me, I've got Jonathan, who is actually in Sydney right now.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm John, or Jono. I've been working with the Pacific Island at Expedia for a couple of years now. And I've been working closely with Janshi and the team at SPTO for a good couple of years as well. So again, thanks SPTO for giving us the opportunity to share on that platform today. Now, in terms of agenda today, we really want to go through the market insights that Expedia is able to share with you guys. And in that particular example, we will be sharing and comparing trends between the Pacific Islands region versus other regional competition. Then we will be looking at the road to recovery. So what initiatives are Expedia Group setting up to help the industry and our logic partner to recover and rebound? And then we'll be happy to answer your question with the Q&A section. Pardon me. Now, starting with the market insights. Look, there's no secret there. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The world of travel is on a standby. We are going through a pandemic. So positive numbers and revenues and room nights are in a tricky situation for the list. However, we are able to identify trends, and that's what I'm going to be sharing with you in the next few slides. Right, so what are we looking at here? We are looking at the last 90 days room night purchase in US dollars. On the vertical axis, you've got the room nights year-on-year growth. And on the horizontal axis, you've got the next 12 months. In this example, we decided instead of comparing the Pacific Islands between each other, we are comparing a couple of Pacific Islands with other historically competitive destinations. What do we have there? The orange is for Fiji, blue for French Polynesia. So these are our players for the Pacific Islands. Now, we are comparing that data with Bali in gray, the Maldives in yellow, and Hawaii in purple. So looking at this graph, what are we seeing? We're seeing a trend. From strong decline, we're heading towards the zero mark. So I won't say that very often, but in that case, heading towards zero is actually very positive. It means that we are going to a level that is close to what we had before COVID, meaning that after that, we will be in a state of growth. Looking at three examples that had the smaller declines there, we look at the blue, the yellow, and the purple, French Pole, Maldives, and Hawaii. What have these countries in common? Those three countries have a very strong penetration on the US market. Just keep in mind that French Polynesia remains an exception within our Pacific region in a way that the penetration to the US is over 60%. Looking at Fiji and Bali, orange and gray, you can see that their decline has been much stronger. They are recovering, but slower than the other places. Now, you will notice what's happening towards the end of this graph with June 2021. So we've got this spike of production for Fiji. So when we got that graph with the team, we were really wondering what is this spike. So we sort of understood that it's more likely to be the vouchers that's been issued during COVID have 1 year expiry date. So people are actually booking and using those vouchers to rebook their stay as far as they can go to the limit of the voucher. Now, you see a little spike of yellow there at the end in June 2021, which is a growth of production for the Maldives as well. Keep that in mind. I will go back to it a bit later. And I just wanted to share an anecdote there. So we are seeing that the decline is reducing. And if you would have followed the news, you would have heard a couple of weeks ago the Cook Islands sharing that they were just about to reopen their flight to New Zealand. Exciting news. However, 24 hours later, Jacinda Ardern was bouncing back on that, saying that yes, it will happen, but it wasn't happen next week or in the next couple of weeks either. They needed more time. And the very funny story there is that during the 24 hours between the Cook Island announcement and New Zealand correction of that statement, we saw a spike of room night being produced to the Cook Island by Kiwis. And I thought there was a beautiful message there saying that when people are giving the green light in terms of border reopening and authorization to travel, they are going online, they are going and book travel. Now, let's look at the ADR, the average daily rates for the same destination. So again, going from blue to purple, we've got French Polynesia, Fiji, Bali, the Maldives, and Hawaii. We've got the ADR in US dollars on the vertical axis and the next 12 months at the bottom. Let's draw a line at the $500 mark. Another one at the $300 mark. So what we see there, no surprise, blue and yellow are pretty much the highest, and it is French Polynesia and Maldives. Then under the $300 mark, we are seeing Fiji, Bali, and Hawaii, with very occasionally, pardon me, Fiji and Hawaii going on top of that $300 mark. So yes, Bali has a very historically lower ADR. However, it was very relevant to share it here because it is a very serious competitor of our destinations. Looking at the blue graph of French Polynesia, we can see that there are variations. However, there's no drastic change between high or low season. Looking at that graph, at that blue graph, it would be hard to identify what is low, what is high season. Now look at the yellow. This is Maldives. We can see a much more change in terms of average daily rate through the year. If we look at June 2021, we can see that the ADR for Maldives is pretty much half what it is for French Polynesia. So of course, the seasonality enters the game. Pretty much, so if we consider the low season for French Polynesia being Q1, so January to March, we can barely see any move compared with the rest of the year. Now look at the low season from the Maldives, from June to September. We can notice it's not massive, but we can see a clear, a lower ADR during those months. Another example, look at December 2020, that yellow graph, the Maldives. That's the peak month of the Maldives high season, and we are at $600. Look at the peak month of the Maldives low season in June 2021, and we pretty much have that ADR. So what does it mean there? Are the Maldives yielding the rates while other destinations aren't? Are they thinking ahead and setting strategy for next year while other destinations in that very example, such as French Polynesia, isn't? Also, I wanted to share that in terms of ADR and room night, the property that we are seeing getting those room nights are property that have taken those steps towards our customers, such as setting flexible cancellation policy, whether it's 24 hours. Now, so this is what we are seeing in terms of trend in our region compared with our competitors abroad. Now, we also listened to the feedback of our lodging partners, and we were asked for data. So what we're able to share with you today is a set of data that is available for every partners in Partner Central in the Expedia extranet. So what are we looking there? So for a change, I took the example of Papua New Guinea. The dark blue is the page visits, and the teal color is the purchase. On the vertical axis, you've got the growth, and we're looking at the last 90 days. So it is quite, so it is clearly negative. We are seeing, so how to read this graph? If you look at the week of the 1st of June, we are seeing that 48% of page visit decline and a 72% of purchase. So what's interesting there is to keep an eye on this graph. So as announcement of border reopening will be made, that's the graph we want to keep an eye on in terms of setting up strategy accordingly. So we're looking at when are people searching for. Now we want to see what dates are those people entering when they do searches online. Similar graph for the same destination, Papua New Guinea. We can see the growth on the vertical axis and the next 12 months at the bottom. If you look from January 2021, we can see that we are again heading closer to zero, which is where we want to be. With page visit and purchase going either around zero or slightly under or above. So thanks to this graph and that data available for all our lodging partners, we understand the demand pattern so we can set strategy at the right time when people are online searching and for the right time, what date are people searching for. So now that we've got this information, we want to know where are those people coming from. So in the same section, Market Insights in Partner Central, we decided to share that data with our partners. On the vertical axis, you've got the countries of origin of the searches made to the destination. And we've got the last 90 days at the bottom. So I'm not going to expect you to be able to read those numbers, but just focus on the color pattern. The darker the blue, the higher the growth. Looking at the top of this list, we can see the USA and Australia, the typical countries of origin for visitors to Papua New Guinea. It's a lighter blue. The decline is stronger. However, we're seeing growth of unexpected countries, such as Germany, Indonesia, Thailand, or Russia. Are we seeing new sources country for that destination? Now I'm going on to the next graph with the stay date search for that same destination. We are also seeing quite a strong decline for the typical countries of origin, USA and Australia. And again, new countries are popping in that list. Germany, Thailand, Canada, France, Brazil. They're not the traditional feeder of that market. So again, I remember a couple of months ago when I joined the webinar with SPTO, we had this discussion about, are we going to see new patterns of travel globally? Are we going to be able to create maybe new source country for our destinations? Well, that's the question that this graph is raising today. So now that we know, thanks to this data, and as the situation evolves, we will be able to target the right people at the right time and for the right travel dates. Now, we will go through what Expedia Group is doing at a wider level in terms of helping the industry to recover. Mel?
Yes, thank you, Jono, for sharing these trends. That's definitely food for thought with this maybe new market, you know, even if it will be a minimum to think about for the future and the near future. So, of course, COVID-19 has impacted the travel landscape significantly and has changed our industry forever. There is no doubt about that. So when it struck, we couldn't just wait and see. We at Expedia Group had to react quickly and come up with several initiatives to help customers, but more than ever, to help rebuild the industry and help our hotel partners' businesses. So that is what we're going to cover in this next section. So I'm very excited to share that Expedia Group has developed a recovery program where we are committing $275 million to accelerate the recovery of the global travel industry. So this recovery program is made of three components. The first one is restoring the industry. So with two aspects in mind, helping the workforce and restoring travelers' confidence to travel again. The second component is around restoring destination. How can we inspire customers to travel again? And finally, the third component and the third focus is restoring lodging partners to help them rebuild their businesses. So the sheer motivation behind this recovery program comes from our absolute desire to rebuild and restore travel. We know it's a real struggle right now, and a lot of us are struggling, and we hope the industry and our lodging partners, we hope we can set path forward as we all seize the opportunity to recover, especially with this program. So allow me to dig into each component of this program for you. So first, beginning with restoring the industry. So around the world, we have witnessed many hotels that have closed either temporarily or permanently since the pandemic. As a result, many people in the hospitality industry have lost their job or been furloughed. So to help here, Expedia Group has created a complimentary online training and learning platform that you may have heard about already. It's called the Expedia Group Academy. So the goal of this program is to provide the entire travel industry, including displaced workers, with webinars, online trainings, and resources to support their return to the workforce. So some topics are led by some Expedia Group leaders, and some topics are led by industry leaders. So it features topics like sales and business skills, leadership training, diversity, and inclusion. I know some of you have heard feedback that you have joined this Expedia Group Academy and you find it very useful. So if you have not yet and you would be interested, I invite you to do so. The second component of restoring the industry is to restore consumer confidence in travel. We know the travelers are wondering if it's safe to travel again. So what can we do about that? We have launched a new features for lodging partners to highlight the health and hygiene measure at their properties, because we know they are doing efforts, with anything touching health and hygiene. So the amenities include, for instance, contactless check-in and check-out, hand sanitizers including in rooms, enhanced cleaning, and enforcing social distancing measures, amongst a lot of other measures. So we have given the opportunity for our lodging partners to update these amenities, these features they are doing in the Extranet Partner Central. And so the cleanliness practices for their property will be displayed on the property page when visitors are checking the hotel on our website. So for example, on this property, you see that there is a rate of 4.7 on 5, and that is measuring how much things the hotel have done in terms of improving the hygiene and health of their property. And then at the end of the listing, there will be a lot more details about exactly what they are doing. So we feel that the travelers will feel like they're going to a place that cares about all this action, and they will feel more confident in booking. Another thing that we have developed and communicate online for our customers is that we know some cautious customers need flexibility now even more than ever. So we wanted to make sure we were offering the most flexible options for them. So as a result, nearly 70% of lodging right plans on Expedia Group are now refundable. So that is a massive step. Additionally, Expedia Group has introduced a new filter to search flights and accommodation by flexible fare on our site globally. So that's what you can see at the bottom of the screen. The customer doing a search can filter by flexible fares. So that is a massive step as well in the search process. So we believe the more consumers can see this measure, the more they are communicated and that are undertaken by the industry, by all of us, the more they will feel confident about traveling again. Now, I'd like to talk about the second part of our recovery program, and this is restoring the destinations. So our goal here is to inspire travelers to travel again. It seems very basic, but how do you get them, how do you get their motivation back on track? How do you get their confidence back on track? So to reignite demand through market awareness, Expedia Media Solution, which is the global advertising organization of Expedia Group, and some of you might have been in touch already with Expedia Media Solution, is creating a dedicated destination relief program and opening a $25 million fund for destinations. So this recovery plan focuses on destination-led and co-op campaigns, which bring together destinations like RTOs and supply partners with similar audiences to manage their advertising spend while maximizing their conversion. So Expedia Group brands have rolled out a series of global campaigns to keep travel top of mind. So really our aim here is to help increase the demand for the islands with awareness and inspiration. I think that's really the two words we want to focus on before even thinking about conversion. I think if we get the travelers back, if we're at the back of their mind, then they will travel again, but we need to be visible. There will be a lot of competition when, more recovery will be on the way, so we need to keep that in mind. Last but not least, part of our recovery program is restoring lodging partners. And I think that's where Jono and I are in the heart of, because we work with lodging partners, with our hotels in the islands. So just to let you know, in the first quarter of this year, our lodging business made up roughly 70% of our business. So it's the area where we have the greatest ability to accelerate recovery. So we know if we can propel recovery in lodging, that will advance the broader industry recovery. There is no doubt about that. So across the Pacific Island, we are all aware there are many small hoteliers and independent lodging partners who are most impacted by this pandemic and struggling as we speak. We're on the phone with them every day, and it's not easy, and it's not easy even for big hotels, for no one. So Expedia Group is committing $250 million to help our independent partners and small chains around the world. So let's get into the details about this third feature and how the Pacific Island market can benefit from it. So we have launched globally in several waves a recovery program that we call the Revive and Relief. So obviously there are two main parts of this program. The Revive part is made through marketing funds to help our lodging partners to attract the attention of travelers in search results. And then the Relief part goes with through payment flexibility as partners rebuild their businesses. We want to help to reduce pressure on their cash flow to recover. So with this program, we trust lodging partners will be able to make better decisions in planning their strategies, as well as see how we can generate demand to attract travelers. It's a 3-month optional program designed for lodging partners to rebuild their businesses, strengthen their digital presence, help them to attract high-value guests, and optimize their cash flow. So, the program is live in around 40 markets as we talk. We are very excited. It will be launched in Pacific Island when the time is right. So it serves our partner better if it's the right time. So we are checking in that sense how the room nights are moving, how the searches are moving, and partners can do so in market insight as shared by Jono before. So in the meantime, we continue supporting our partners as best as we can and listen to their needs and feedbacks and insights on what the industry is doing as well. But what we can share already now is globally, properties who have enrolled in this program are producing around 15% more net room nights than their non-enrolled competitors. So it demonstrates the value and success of this program. So Q2 has certainly tested Expedia's ability to engage and boost partners at scale in a time of uncertainty. In this unprecedented time of crisis, I think we all realize that we are coming stronger and better in terms of action we have taken, risk we have all taken as well, because we had to act quickly. So here, I just want to sum up and highlight maybe some of Expedia Group action in 3 key areas. The first one is COVID-19 response and readiness. So the objective here was to provide key information and guidance on responding to COVID-19 and motivate our partners to take action that will speed recovery. So I give you some example of deployments that we've done, obviously adding the health and hygiene measures to the extranet and the website for customers to see. We ask as well our hotels to extend their inventory as much as they could into 2001, just because the consumers are looking a lot more in the future before they book their travel. We've asked our partners as well to adopt flexible rights and policy, and they've made an amazing effort by doing the best they could to get closer to this 24 hours cancellation. And we've asked our partners to make sure they were improving their content score. So everything that's displayed online, like the photo and all the text that's showing on their listing, to make sure the listing are attractive, because the customer need to dream, especially at the moment. So with this measure, we are responding to the needs of customers and the needs of partners as well. Secondly, another action I'd like to cover is the rebound with the deployment of this Revive and Relief program we've seen in the slide just before. So the objective here is to motivate our partners to take action that will foster production and competitiveness as travel restriction lift. So, such as participating in this Revive and Relief program to build that demand and get that base business to get the property started again. So, some key result example of that is, as I said, we deployed this program in over 40 markets, driving partners opt-in. And we hosted around 25 Revive and Relief webinars globally. Finally, the product introduction is a big part of what Expedia Group has been doing during this crisis. So our product and technology team have worked around the clock to release new features to help partners cope with the impact of COVID-19. Our market management team that Jono and I are part of have worked on these new features, partners adoption, and our marketing team have supported introduction of the following features. For example, we've developed a self-serve cancellation, so customers could cancel online rather than waiting on the phone to talk to someone. We've created COVID-19 voucher program. We've developed temporary closures and essential travel notice on our website. We've developed market insight very quickly because our partners needed that data and needed to see a bit more of trends. And of course, we've deployed this Revive and Relief training and support that we give our partners around the world. So this is definitely a cross collaboration within Expedia Group and is about helping our partners solve their needs and connecting the value of our product as well and creating a better customer experience at the end of the day as well. So we're coming towards the end of this session, and I'd like to leave you with a few key takeaways to finish this session. In a time of uncertainty and recovery, I think we need to all work together to restore the travel industry and ask ourselves just a few questions. Are the hoteliers adapting their strategy to the current situation? Are Pacific Islands destination priced right? Are they meeting the new needs of customers? Are they thinking ahead? Are they getting ready? Do you know, all these questions is question we keep asking ourselves within our Pacific Island team, and there is no right or wrong. I think it's just thinking about what we need to do to get ready and to get, you know, our beautiful islands to start again. So to wrap up this session, I'd like to reiterate that Expedia Group focus remain on helping the industry and helping our partners to rebound and to make sure they're set up to capture demand when it returns. So we'd like to give them the best tool and the best data we can to set them up for success. Travel will happen again. We need to remain hopeful and work together to control what we can control. So I'd like to thank you all for joining this webinar today. Of course, we don't know what the future looks like, but while we're all going through this roller coaster that is COVID-19, and I guess facing some of the biggest challenge in our professional life and at some impact on our personal life as well, I think we've been amazed by the overall positivity. I think through the Pacific and the South Pacific, we are blessed with amazing and diverse markets, with amazing and resilient people. And if we are all working through this together, I think we'll come out of this better and stronger. It's not going to be an easy ride, but I think we all need to join our forces here. So I'd like to thank you all for attending this webinar today on the behalf of Expedia and SPTO. And we have a few moments, I think, to open a discussion where you can ask any questions or share any additional input. It would be interesting to get your feedback on this session and this topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Melanie. Appreciate that. That was really insightful, and the data was really, I think Jonathan hit the lane when he talked about the new markets merging. So it was really interesting to see. It would really be interesting to see for other countries as well, Jono. So I'm sure I think you showed the PNG one. So I think if you can, it will be interesting to see the searches for other Pacific Island countries. So hoping you can send those data over so we can share it to all our industry members in the Pacific if it's possible. So I think that will be.
Look, Jamshir, every single partner who's working with us, they have access to that data for their very own market in their back office in Partner Central. So we've got that data for every single market. Okay. And yeah, I was keen to share about PNG. We just reshuffled the management of markets, and I'll be looking after Papua New Guinea. So I just wanted to put it forward for once in that presentation.
That's all good, man. That's all good. Yeah. So the floor is open. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask any questions to Melanie and Jono. So yeah. So anyone got any questions? Got one question from Marietta actually. She's asking, can you please clarify further on the Revive and Recovery program?
Sorry, I didn't get all of that. Can you please?
So hold on a second. Can you please clarify further on the Revive and Recovery program?
Yep. So I'd love to, but further in terms of more details, or?
Sorry, what was that? Sorry, Melanie. I think she was looking more in the marketing fund side.
The marketing fund?
Yep. So she was asking, especially on the marketing fund, and the other one she didn't get. So I think she wants to know more on the recovery fund, the Revive and Recovery fund.
So yeah, of course, Expedia Group will unlock some marketing fund to give to partners who will join this recovery program. So they can use on Expedia Partner Central, which is our extranet. We have some marketing tools that necessitate to inject some funds. So Expedia Group will give some marketing funds so partners can work their marketing tools on our extranet, and then the impact of that will be a better visibility in the search results online. So basically boosting their visibility online.
Okay. Is that okay, Arietta? Do you want to ask any clarification? Or she's okay with it? Yeah, she says thank you. We've got another question from Greg Arnold. His question is, customers are interested in going to a safe country and they see New Zealand and Australia as countries that locked down early. How are you going to market the safety of other countries in the South Pacific region?
So I guess one measure that we've talked about in this presentation is the health and hygiene measure that partners can update on our extranet about the measure they're taken to make sure their hotel is safe in terms of like hygiene. So any information they put on there will be visible on the search visit. If we talk about more as a destination, I think there is definitely some work that can be done with our media solution department on how we're gonna put the Pacific Island forward in terms of being like a safe haven kind of. So there's definitely some campaign that can be made in that sense. I guess discussing with our media solution if that's a right angle of promotion as well. I see that as an option.
Thank you, Melanie. Let's see this. So anyone else that got any questions, please let us know. You can ask directly or you can type in. And also we will share this presentation over to everyone who has who joined late or want to go through it again. So we'll send out a link to the video. So it was recording. So yeah, so we'll send it out if you have missed out on anything like that with the presentation.
So I see a question in the chat, if that's okay, about Tahiti is open and how did the sale go for this early time? I think it's from Jackie Charlton. So I look after the French Polynesian market for Expedia Group, Jackie, and yes, it's been reopened since last week. Look, it's not the reason why, as well, I said we need to launch this recovery program at the right time. Is like Tahiti has been, well, French Polynesia as a whole has been doing pretty good, as Jono explained in the market trend. In the last few months comparing to other Pacific Island markets, but we need to wait a bit more to get this more conversion before we launch this recovery program, just to make sure it benefits the partners even better. So we haven't seen a massive spike or increase, but we see that is going gradually up, and there is definitely interest in the searches about Tahiti. And one of these new markets we see, for example, as you were saying, John Shear before, is the UK. UK traditionally for us and French Polynesia never been a market that was looking at French Polynesia, and is looking now as it's still minimum, but it's still, you know, maybe this new interest that we could work around.
Thank you. Melanie, I've got and John, I've got a question here.
Yeah.
It's from Tekonova Teburia. Can Expedia through SPTO provide online trainings to tourism operators? I think we discussed that before, John, in a meeting. So I think you guys can answer that. I think.
Well, thanks Tekonova for the question, and that was a point shared by Mel. Expedia on its side, Expedia Group has set up what's called the Expedia Academy, and that's really targeted at us professionals of the hospitality and tourism industry. And these are a lot of trainings and self-taught videos to go through to really upscale your skill in the field, so you keep that level up while the industry is slowing down. So that it's called the Expedia Group Academy, and it will be sharing the presentation as well.
Thank you, Jono. Got a question here from Muhammad Jamal from Fiji. Are you getting bookings on Expedia for the Pacific region?
Yes, thanks for the question, Mohammed. We are getting bookings. So I think the first slide that Jono shared, although the room nights are still negative year on year, we are getting bookings. So we follow that very closely with all the market management team. So Michael Goddard, myself, and other team members. So I would say the market that are probably doing the best at the moment in terms of getting room nights would be French Polynesia and Fiji. And then after that would be, you know, Cook Islands, Samoa, and all the other islands. So we are seeing some bookings, but of course, compared to last year, we can't even put that numbers, but we are seeing some interest and bookings, and we are seeing searches. So people are looking, and I think they will be booking when the time is right, when they've got the airlines, when they have their leaves and the budget that goes with it. So that's why I say we have to remain hopeful, because we see a lot of searches and we see a few bookings as well.
Yeah, and I think the one item that would help getting those bookings is also a clear announcement from the authorities in terms of when is the country reopening. Country reopen with a 14 days quarantine won't do anything for us, really. So we want to get rid of that quarantine. We want the country open at a, we want a clear date as to when the country is going to open, and we want information about the airlines as well. Who's coming back to the destination and at what frequencies. So these are other items as well to consider in terms of getting that boosted booking. And again, when we've got that set up, I guess booking will come through. I was like joking about that example with the Cook Islands, and I guess that was a really good example to see that when the green light is given, people are booking and we're getting room nights.
I see a question. Sorry, I see a question that's quite interesting from Erata Benson about the Revive and Relief program. Which countries can actually tap into this program? So what we are doing is rolling this program in different waves in terms of timeline through the world. So for example, last month we launched this 3-month program in Australia and New Zealand, because we saw that the conversion was picking up and it was the right time to do so. So we're keeping a very close eye on the Pacific Island to see when we can deploy this program. Obviously, we're keeping an eye on French Polynesia because it's now reopened. As I said before, we need to make sure we launch it at the right time, because we are giving tools to the hotels with this program. They need to be used with the conversion as well to make, you know, a good business return. So yeah, we market management will be in touch with the market and the hotels when we open this program for a specific island.
Thanks, Mena. I just wanted to add a quick thing as well when we're talking about who's getting those bookings. If you look at Expedia data, we are seeing that in terms of what destinations are being searched for globally, Fiji is currently top 5. So it's telling a lot about the attraction of the destination right now. I guess people, after being in isolation, they want some sunshine and beautiful weather, and that sort of really relaxing holiday would cut them from the day-to-day routine. So it's an amazing position for Fiji right now. And yeah, it's just, I guess, it is very encouraging for us.
Another question for you, John. Can you share the top 5?
I need to look that up for you. I shall get back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, well, being based in Auckland in New Zealand, I hear around me a lot of people and you know, friends and that are just desperate to go and visit the islands. But obviously we can't do so now. But I think as soon as you know, restriction will be lifted, there will be a lot of people really keen to come and visit the islands.
We've got one question from Jamal. What sort of marketing activities will Expedia carry out?
Well, look, if I may, what we're doing right now at Expedia, so you know how we have, so Expedia Group is on only Expedia.com, it's Hotel.com, it's What If, and a lot of brands. And what we are currently doing is we are currently working with each of these brands in terms of launching campaigns for some markets. So pretty much at that stage, we've got countries such as the Cook Islands or French Polynesia that are involved with this brand marketing in terms of helping the destination with marketing activities. And also, if I may just get back again, I just keep on thinking of new items to share with you guys in terms of who's getting those booking and room nights. I did share it during the presentation, but again, the property that are getting those room nights at that stage, they are the property that understood the new needs of that new customer profile. So we are seeing property getting booking when they yield the rates, when they apply flexible cancellation policy, because obviously in that situation, as a customer, I might not have the certainty of clicking book for that stay. A flexible cancellation policy gives me that comfort that I can book, and worst case scenario, I'm still going to be able to, for example, postpone that trip. So it's a very important element of the production we are seeing right now.
I've got a question here from Caroline. Hi, Caroline Brunel from Tahiti Tourism in Australia. Do you think consumers expect to see massive discount post-COVID? That's a very good question, Caroline. Look, I think that if we have discount, is probably, of course, expected a bit by travelers at that time, but it's really for the hotels to decide on their strategy as well, what can be done. From Expedia Partner Central, the hotels can join some campaign, as Jono just explained, that are made on different brands through Expedia Group, to give them more powers if they want to do some action on price. They can do that. They can also do it at at hotel level prices. But if you were a traveler yourself, and I'm sure you are, would you expect to see discounts post COVID? Probably. So that's very interesting to think about that as a traveler perspective. And thinking that the traveler's budget as well probably been hit either by work reduction or work loss. So, you know, we have to think about all of that. And we also have to take into mind what the hotel can do, right? We know they're struggling. Can they do any effort? And it doesn't have to be necessarily on price, but can they give a little something extra that would boost their visibility online as well? You know, that's a value add, can be something that they can look about.
If I may, thanks Kevin for the questions. And look, for the Cook Islands, since that fake news was released, we did see a consistent increase. So yes, we had that spike during that 24 hours following the news. It has slowed down when it was sort of corrected by New Zealand. However, I think it gave the hope to Kiwi travelers that it might be still happening soon. So we are seeing a consistent growth in booking to the Cook Islands since that announcement. Pony Pate, thanks for the question. What about the check-in dates or travel dates for those bookings? Look, it does depend on the destination, and it does depend on how much information our government's sharing about reopening of the country. However, this is we've observed a pattern where we're seeing growth of room nights booked from September onwards, and definitely through 2021. So again, we just want to insist on the need to, first of all, as simple as having inventory loaded for 2021 for our partners, and also targeting that next year in terms of setting the right strategies.
There was a question about a bit earlier about, so Ponipate has asked a question, what about the check-in date or travel date for these bookings? So we see very different patterns. We see, so the booking window for Pacific Island was quite large, depending on the island, but between 60 to 90 days. What we're seeing now is more a trend of very last minute, which I think is more domestic, which at Expedia Group is not necessarily a lot of our bookings, but we still see that last minute bookings. So that's why we are telling our hotels to think about strategy for last minute. And we're seeing at the opposite, some bookings for like more than a year, or like they're looking, you know, at maybe postponing bookings. So that's why we tell our partners to make sure they load their inventory and rights as far as they can, because people are looking past that year mark. So that's very important to be visible at that time as well. So very different searches and stay dates, that is changing.
There's a question from Samantha, guys, for trends for Guam and CNMI.
Thanks, Samantha, for the question. Look, for the Northern Marianas and Guam, it is looked after by a team based in Japan, I believe. So we don't have that visibility now. However, I'd be happy to get in touch with you and maybe or at least reach out to our team over there to see what sort of data we'll be able to share. But yeah, right now I just don't have the visibility on those destinations. Thanks for the question, though.
There is a question from Kevin. Do you provide such information to Pacific Island government authorities? Here in Samoa, there seems to be a lack of information to assist positive decision making. So Kevin, I think what we are doing at our level, I guess the market manager for Samoa with our colleague Antoinette would be able to give some data to RTO probably, but at our level, I'm not sure this is something that we'll take to the government. We can give you tips and tools of things you can take there. But yeah, I'm not too sure if there will be conversation more about.
Yeah. So. At that stage, we do look with the Board of Tourism, and then I guess what we share with the Board of Tourism, then the Board of Tourism and the government might be discussing those items. I'm not familiar with any direct relationship between governments and our teams.
So I've got a question from Caroline Brunel again from the Tahiti Tourism. Still in relation to my price question, there is a lot of market data showing people are choosing more luxury products. Are you seeing this too? Very interesting. If I can relate to the slides of the average daily rate that Jono was talking about at the beginning of this presentation, the slide 2, we could see that French Polynesia average daily rate is higher than other markets we were comparing with. So is it that people are looking as well at these top more luxury properties and they find that in French Polynesia? We don't have much clarity or granular information about that, but it could be linked. Yeah, maybe it's an interesting question. I don't see that they're choosing more luxury products than before, but I can certainly dig into that.
Okay, I think maybe time for another couple of questions before we end the webinar. I think there's one more question from Marietta actually. Any program from Expedia which are specific to small island states? Yes, the last one.
Look, so our team does look after, so I guess, small island states. So if we think of American Samoa or Niue, for example, so we've got a team member looking after those countries. The situation right now is very often those countries are linked by one airline and just a few flights. So I guess that's, given how restricted is the link between those places and the rest of the world, this is really something that needs to come first to then think of what we can do together in that way. But then, yeah, again, it's at that stage, it's a little bit in standby for the destination that are so much, that depends so much on the one air link with the rest of the world.
Thank you, Jono. Yes, guys, we've just sort of run out of time now. So, but if you do have any questions, please send it through to us, or you can send it directly to Jono and Melanie if you have their contact details. But you can always email it through to us if you have any questions. And also, like I mentioned earlier, we will send through the presentation, so you can go through it yourselves. And then if you have any questions, just let us through. And from SPTO side, we're looking forward to working closely with Expedia. We've discussed that previously with Victoria and Jono as well. So let's see how, especially during this time, I think we need them more than ever. So yeah, so we'll be working very closely with them as well, and in terms of trainings and stuff like that as well. But yeah, so that's us from me today, and we hope to see you all for our next webinar. But thank you, Jono and Melanie. That was really good, and really appreciate you guys taking your time. I know it's really cold out there. We are blessed with the sun. So yeah, so hopefully we'll catch up and meet someday. So, but yeah, we'll definitely keep in touch. But thank you guys, and thank you everyone for joining us today. From wherever you are, thank you for your time, and we hope to see you again for the next webinar in the next couple of weeks, which will send out the invite and then by next week or something like that. Thank you guys. All right.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks
Thank you
everyone
very
for
much.
joining today.
Thank you, everyone. And as soon as we can fly to the islands, we will be there. Don't you worry about that.
We'll have the real picture of the beach there.
I know. Bring on the beach and the sun.
Awesome, guys.
Thanks, guys. You have a good day, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.